Oh, goodness.
Ready?
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Oh, hello. I didn't see you standing there recording me.
It's like the blooper news, you know?
This is our Friday episode that we call One Good Question, where we take one question from you and from sometimes us, and we answer it in roughly 10 minutes. So we're going to jump in here. I'm Jim. There's Mike. And Tiffany, our trainer here at Third Street Barbell.
Miss Deadlifts.
Yeah, Miss Deadlift. There you go.
Yeah, I should ask a deadlift question, but that's not what I'm going to do. Here's the question. How do you be a good consumer of coaching? Like, how do you be
be like a good student or a good client?
Yeah, good client.
I think asking questions is huge. I think you should be a listener, know what to ask. So, like, if you have a question, don't be afraid to ask your coach. Instead of looking on social media for a lot of answers, I think you should go straight to the source, reading a book, asking a certified personal trainer a question. Because a lot of it is like, I can look at you and you could ask me no questions and I could say, okay, let's go do a deadlift or let's go do bicep curls or whatever. But if that's not ultimately what you're looking for, maybe you don't want to lift, maybe you want to do cardio, or maybe vice versa. Maybe you want to lift weights and not do cardio. How am I supposed to know that if you don't ask questions? So I think really asking the question to your coach is going to help you in the long run, because the more you know when you're first starting off, as far as knowledge goes, the better it's going to be for longevity. So like if I'm just getting into this, right, and I don't know jack shit about technique for a movement or nutrition or anything, how am I going to succeed at the end of the day? How am I going to maintain that momentum into like 6 months, you know, because they say it takes a couple months for you to build that habit.
Yeah.
Sure.
How am I going to do that if I don't know any answers? Yeah. You're not going to. You're going to fall short. You're going to feel like, oh, well, I'm scrolling through social media and I just see people getting fit in 30 days, 60 days, whatever. But in reality, that's not really true.
Yeah, social media's fucked.
It's fucked. Like, there's a lot of edits on social media. Yeah. There's a lot of like promises that aren't really given on social media, and until you really do your research and talk to somebody, you don't really know anything.
For sure.
And so you've got to have some knowledge around that. So I think being a listener and asking questions is huge. Like if you're coming to me for coaching, you know?
Yeah. No, I agree. I think, naturally, for some reason, whether it's team sports or just socially, we always think of coaching as like a one-way road, right? Like more like an authoritative position, where a lot of coaching actually like isn't authoritative. It's not the same as a boss. So I'd agree 100% that being like proactive with your questions, proactive with your needs. You don't want to be like a hypochondriac and like ask every little fucking, hey, you know, my left pinky toe hurts or some shit. But giving as much feedback and being really proactive. Online and in person is slightly different. Online, like being proactive is everything. Like I'm not emailing shit. Like if you're not coming to me with your videos or your questions, I'm not chasing your ass around.
Exactly.
In person, there's obviously it's more immediate for feedback. But I would agree. And you don't have to like know everything to be able to ask certain questions or give certain feedback and be as honest as you can. Coachability, or like being coachable, is a term a lot of people use.
Yeah.
Huge.
And like, I don't know if that's a skill you can like hone in per se. You can definitely put attention to it. It's like coachability or being coachable typically means that you respond well or quickly to feedback. And some people just like can't, you know, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, it's not a great thing, but it's not something you should get down upon either. You know, some people might need 5 reminders before they do.
They're just hard-headed.
Yeah, or I feel like some people just can't absorb it as quick, especially with like lifting weights has always been a difficult thing to work on technique, because you're trying to move your body through space under very heavy load, and moving your body through space to begin with is difficult. Now you're under load and doing it. So like, don't be you want to be open-minded as best you can, and I think that you can work on. But being coachable, I don't know if it's like inherent or innate, but it's a goal. But you shouldn't feel frustrated if you need reminders all the time. I guess.
That, and like with lifting weights, everybody's technique is so different.
For sure.
So like, it's not just a one-way road. So you have to kind of try to figure out what feels best for you, because you shouldn't feel uncomfortable in any kind of lifting position. You should feel like you're in your most optimal position. So sometimes that can take time.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen right away. It's just repetition. It's just, all right, well, this didn't work. Let me try something else.
Yeah.
Maybe this will work. And then once you find it, you stick with it and you build on it. That's how you get stronger.
Yeah, I think patience and trust would be another one I would add to it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, like, program hop is like an old thing people used to talk about a lot. I don't know how common that is anymore, but now a lot of people have coaches.
Coach hopping.
Yeah, coach hopping. It's probably a similar vibe.
The streets.
Yeah, but back in the day, like, very rarely, not rarely, but more rare that everyone had a fucking coach. Now everyone seems to have a coach. But kind of like you said, it's going to take it time. So to have a little bit of trust, because even a coach is trying to learn you just as much as you're trying to learn the coach.
Exactly.
And so they can't always just like
have a quick fix.
Yeah,
quick
your deadlift
answer.
just can't go up. Even if it's hypothetically the best coach on the planet to ever exist, they can't just make your deadlift hop up 100 pounds in a month. So
a lot of it's you too.
For sure.
Like a lot of it's your mindset going into
For
training.
Sure.
Like, you know, like for example, like if I'm doing a one-on-one and maybe let's say my client is a little bit shyer, maybe not as opened up to me, and let's say I see that their knees bothering them, I'm going to ask them and be like, hey, how you feeling? And 9 times out of 10, they're going to tell me exactly how they're feeling, but it just takes them actually opening up to you and you may be asking that initial question for them to feel comfortable. Because sometimes people feel like they can't tell you how they feel.
Right.
Because you're going to be disappointed in them or whatever.
Yeah.
So just that mindset of like, oh, I can't ask this question because they're going to make me do it anyway, or because they're going to be disappointed in me. Like, that's horrible. They should feel like they're able to open up to you, able to talk to you about their issues. That way you can help them in the long run. Because in reality, right, we're working out to be able to play with our kids when we're 60, not to be just fit in our 20s, you know?
Yeah, it is
for
a long
me anyway.
game. Yeah,
it's a long game. Yeah, you're in this for a long time.
So the thing is, I think it even starts earlier than that. Like, it starts with choosing the person that you want to work with, and you're fit with them, and you're right, you have to ask a lot of questions of that person about how they handle situations, and then you have to make a judgment about how challenged you want to be
Sure.
by your
and communicate
by your coach. You know, like, how do you want somebody to push you really hard, or do you want, you know,
somebody to hold your hand kind of.
Yeah. And I think the other thing is just is consistency. As a person who's being coached, if you're there all the time, the coaching works better. That's just,
of course.
You know,
you gotta show up.
Yeah.
You have to show up to it. It's something that you're kind of investing in yourself. Like, if you're paying for it, you're asking me for advice. So I'm here for that. I'm here to give you advice. I'm here to help you, to teach you.
Yeah.
And if you're not showing up, how can I teach you?
Yeah. Environment matters a lot. Obviously, in gyms like this, people tend to stick with things a little bit longer and be more consistent. But like coaching at a commercial gym, people
it's
like
tough.
they take like 2 sessions and expect like shit to happen, or like oh, like I know enough now. Like, all right, man, like good luck. Like I'm not gonna sit here and car salesman you, but
like it takes more than 2 times a week to see any real progress.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be doing it with your coach and without your coach to really see true results, and for you to gain any kind of determination to finish.
For sure.
Right.
I was just talking to I was with Jen Wiederstrom a week ago. Is one of my best friends, but also one of the best trainers on the planet. She trains anyone from A-list celebrities all the way down
that's
to
pretty cool.
Yeah, she trains everybody. And I was talking about like how do people get the foot in the door there, and what does that look like, and she's trained NBA players, she's trained everything.
Oh wow.
And she was talking about just like also like just like wanting to be someone like to hang out with.
Yeah.
You know, and so like that's kind of a part on both ways too. Like being a client, like being open minded, not just coming in and being a dickhead. You know, and understand that a lot of people don't like working out. I'm a fitness professional for 20 years, and I'm not always stoked to work out. Yeah. But when me and Sebas are filming, or even we're working out, like I'm going to put my best foot forward, and I think that's also on the client. Like, everyone expects the coach to be peppy and happy, and that's great, and they should. That's part of the job. But also the client to come in, positive and as receptive as possible.
Well, also too, because you're not always going to be motivated. Like, there are days I wake up and I don't want to train at all.
For sure.
But I do it because I know I have an end goal that I want to get to. And if I'm not making progress towards that goal, how are you ever going to get there?
Yeah, and you probably have a coach too.
I do.
Yeah, and my friend Jen, again, one of the best trainers on the planet, she has a coach too. She's like, yeah, I got like a special Pilates coach I go to twice a week, and all, like.
It's just to push you.
Yeah, it's well beyond just having knowledge and applicability. It's having feedback.
Yeah, exactly. It's somebody to push you to that next level.
Yeah.
Right? And like, some people are able to do it on their own, which is great. Like, high five to them.
Sure.
But some of us, we need that extra push. And when a client who is fresh, they've maybe never been to a gym before, or maybe they've had bad experience in the past, they might have a negative outlook on the gym setting itself because of the whole meathead environment type thing or whatever. Common. And so you now have to take that mindset and help change that for them, which is changing mindset is hard.
Very.
I don't care what anybody says. It's hard to take somebody's mindset and be like, okay, now I want you to feel this way right away.
Yeah, maybe the hardest thing to human
It
to do.
is. It is. And so when you're teaching somebody how to work out, a lot of it is mindset too.
I agree.
You know, you're dealing with how people feel.
You got anything sub us?
Not really.
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think you guys got
I don't know.
I was listening. I was like, yeah, I think you guys got everything.
Well, that means we answered the question.
Hopefully. Where can they find you, Tiff? Shout them out.
_ Tiffany Deadlifts, and then at Third Street Barbell.
Easy. Ladies and gentlemen, come on in. Tiff's here often. You can email her, DM her, or meet her in person. I'm Solid Mike, where you want to find me. New episodes Wednesday and Friday.
Sebastian _Brambila on IG.
I'm at the Jim McDeal on all the social media. The show is 50% facts, where percent is a word and 50 is just numbers. 50% facts. This is Spreaker Prime Podcast Association with iHeartMedia on the Obscure Celebrity Network, and we'll talk to you next week.
Sebastian knows. He knows.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.